Once again, good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon.
Okay, what we were discussing in our last class, Alvin. Unmute and answer. I can't hear anything. Yes. Punya, what we were discussing in our last class?
Electric field in the longitudinal and equatorial region of electric.
Yes, in the last class we are discussing about the electric dipole in a uniform electric field, right? Am I right? The
Yes.
electric dipole in a uniform electric field. Okay. Then Nandana, what is the net force acting on an electric dipole if it is placed in a uniform electric field?
Zero.
Zero. All right. And what do you mean by torque? Dia, what do you mean by torque then?
It is a rotational effect of electric current due to dipole.
It is an rotational effect on the electric dipole due to the forces present on the dipole. All right. What is the equation for calculating the torque, Achyut? What is the equation for calculating the torque? S.
Torque equal to P.
S. I can hear. Say louder.
Ma'am, torque equal to P into E sin theta.
S torque is equal to P cross E, or that is equal to P sin theta. And define torque, Gauri. Define torque.
It is the rotational effect of electric dipole due to the presence of forces in the
Okay.
charge of electric dipole.
Okay, and what is the equation for calculating the torque? How this equation is came from?
Torque is equal to F into R.
Tau is equal to
F into R.
F into R. Okay, what is F and R?
F is a magnitude of any of the force.
Okay,
R is a
and
perpendicular distance to the electric field.
R is the perpendicular distance to the electric field. Okay, all right. Then Adul,
Yes, ma'am.
we were discussing about the continuous charge distribution, right?
Yes.
Then what is the equation for the continuous charge distribution in the case of a straight conductor?
Charge by length.
The charge by length, what is equal to? What is the left-hand side of this equation?
Sigma.
Sigma. Is it sigma for a linear straight conductor?
No, ma'am. Lambda.
Lambda. The linear charge density. The linear charge density, lambda, is equal to the charge by length. All right. Then Anna, what about it is in the case of a spherical conductor? In the case of a spherical conductor, what about the equation?
Sigma
Yes,
equal to Q by A, charge by area.
Charge by area. And what is sigma then? What is sigma indicates?
Sigma is the surface charge density.
Yes, very good. Sigma is the surface charge density. The surface charge density sigma is equal to charge by area. Okay. Then Sania, what about the charge distribution in the case of a non-uniform conductor, in a non-conductor?
Rho is equal to charge by volume.
Rho is equal to charge by volume. What is rho?
Volume charge density.
Volume charge density. All right. Nia? Then what is the unit of volume charge density, rho? What is the unit of volume charge density, rho? Steffi? I think Steffi is ready to say the answer, right?
C by m cube. C per m3.
What is C?
Coulomb.
Coulomb per meter cube. What is the unit of surface charge density, Vidur? Unit of surface charge density?
Coulomb per meter square.
Coulomb per meter square. Very good. Aditya, what is the unit of linear charge density then?
Coulomb per meter.
Coulomb per meter. All right. So children, in the last class, we were discussing about the continuous charge distribution that we were discussed. That is, if we are placing our electric dipole or electric charge in different materials. First of all, we are considering the case of a straight conductor. The charge is uniformly distributed along the length of the conductor. And we are calculating the linear charge density, that is the charge distributed per unit length. That is lambda is equal to Q by L. Its unit is given by Coulomb per meter. Then instead of this long straight conductor, we are placing a spherical conductor. If we are placing or we are providing a charge, the charge is distributed on its surface. Okay, so we are calculating the surface charge density. The surface charge density is represented by the letter sigma. The sigma is representing the surface charge density. It is the charge distributed per unit area on its surface. So the sigma is equal to Q by A and its unit is given by Coulomb per meter square. And in the third case, instead of a spherical conductor, we are replacing it by a non-uniform conductor, a non-conductor. And in that case, if we are providing a charge, instead of it is distributing on its surface, the charge is get distributed on its volume. The charge is gets distributed on its volume. And then we are denoting it with the help of a term that is known as volume charge density, because in this case, the charge is distributed on its volume. Okay, so we are denoting it or we are representing as volume charge density rho. It can be calculated by the equation Q by L, where Q is the charge and L is the, not Q by L, Q by V. Why you are not correcting me? Okay, the volume charge density rho is equal to Q by V, Q by V. Okay, and what is its unit? What is the unit of volume charge density?
Coulomb per meter cube.
It is Coulomb per meter cube, right? Okay, all right. So this is what is we are discussed in our last class. Now we are going to move to the next topic. That is, yes.
Last class we took about dipole non-uniform electric field.
Say it louder, Achud. I can hear it.
Dipole present in non-uniform electric field.
Yes.
Can you say that again?
You need it once again, the explanation?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we can discuss in the case of electric dipole present in a uniform and non-uniform electric field. So in order to explain the dipole moment in a uniform electric field, we are consider a uniform electric field. It is a uniform electric field. Here the charges are radially outside. The electric field lines are always started from a positive side to a negative side. So here it is positive, it is negative. Yes, Achut.
Ma'am, uniform I understood. I did not understand non-uniform.
Non-uniform, all right. Okay. So in the case of a uniform electric field, if the dipole is present here, it is attracted by this force due to this plus charge and minus charge. All right. Now we are consider it is in the case of a non-uniform electric field. First of all, we can discuss in the case of uniform. So here plus Q, this is minus Q. It is this plus Q is attracted by the charge minus by a force. That force is given by QE. Do you remember it is in the case of a uniform? Okay. Similarly, the minus Q charge is also get attracted by this positive charge to this side. It is not in this way. Once again, I will draw it. Similarly, the minus Q is also get attracted towards the positive charge in this way. And we are representing this forces minus QE. Then the net force is becomes equal to QE minus QE, that is equal to 0. That is in the case of a uniform electric field, right? Now we are considering, suppose if the dipole is present in a non-uniform electric field, and here this field is not same here. So we can, the force acting by the charge plus Q on this charge is given by QE1. And here the field is again changes by QE2 because this field is non-uniform. Then what about the net force acting here? It becomes QE1 minus QE2. Can we say it is 0? Because here the electric field is varies. Because the value of E is varies as E1 and the electric field E2 is also gets varies. So we cannot say the net electric field is becomes equal to 0. Here the net electric, the force acting on the dipole is not equal to 0 because our field is not uniform. If the field is uniform, we can consider both the field as E and E. But if the field is not uniform, we cannot take it as E and E. Instead of E and E, it becomes E1 and E2. We don't know the value of E1 and E2, right? So the net force acting on the dipole is not equal to 0 if the dipole is present in a non-uniform electric field. Clear? If the net force acting on the dipole is not equal to 0, then we can say the torque is also not equal to 0 because the field are not uniform. Clear? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today we are going to start the next topic, that is electric flux. The next topic is electric flux. Okay, electric flux. So before moving to this electric flux, we can just recall the terms about electric field and properties of the electric field lines. Do you remember what you mean by electric field? Rijas, what is electric field? Rijas,
It is the field around the charge where we experience effect of charge.
yes, it is a space, it is a region of space around the charge where we are experiences the effects of charge is known as electric field. Very good. Then Steffi, what do you mean by electric field lines?
Uh,
What do you mean by electric field lines?
they are the imaginary lines
Yes,
which gives the direction of the electric field.
yes, these are the imaginary lines which gives the direction of electric field. That is what is meant by electric field lines. Okay, then Sharon, from where this electric field lines are originate and where it is terminate?
From positive to negative.
Yes, the electric field lines are originating from positive to negative. Okay, so these are we are discussed in our last classes. So what is electric flux says that it is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area. What is electric flux? It is the total number of, suppose if we are considering an area like this, the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area is known as electric flux. It is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area. Okay, this is the definition of electric flux. What is electric flux? It is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area. Okay, so here this is the surface. There is a number of electric field lines are passing through its area. This is what is known as electric flux. Do you get what you mean by electric flux? What do you mean by electric flux? Michael, what is electric flux?
It's the total number of electric field lines passing through a given area.
That's very good. It is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area is known as electric flux. And this electric flux is represented by a symbol. I hope it is very clear. That is represented by this. How it is pronounced? Do you familiar with this symbol? It is known as
Phi.
phi. Very good. It is represented by phi. The electric flux is represented by the letter phi, and this phi can be calculated using the equation E dot A. Vector E dot A. What is vector E represents? What is vector E represents?
Electric field intensity.
Yes, it is the electric field intensity. It is the intensity of the electric field. And what is this A represents? A. It is the area vector, because we are already said that what is electric flux? Electric flux is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area. It can be measured or calculated with the help of phi. So the electric flux is calculated or it is represented by phi. So equation for calculating this phi is given by phi is equal to vector E cross vector A, where vector E is the electric field. It is the electric field vector. Okay, it is the electric field vector, and vector A is the area vector, because here the electric field lines are passing through a given area. So the phi can be calculated using the equation vector E dot vector A. Okay, in your +1 you are already studied about the dot product, right? What is vector A dot vector B? Vector A dot vector B?
AB cos theta.
Yes, very good. Vector A dot vector B is equal to AB cos theta. So like here, instead of A and B, we have another vectors. Vector E dot vector A. What is vector E dot vector A? It becomes, yeah, say it louder, it's right.
EA cos theta.
Very good. It is becomes EA cos theta, right? Becomes EA cos theta. This is a formula that we are already studied in the +1. Vector A dot vector B is equal to AB cos theta. The dot product of any two vectors is equal to AB cos theta. Similarly, instead of this vector A and vector B, here we have another vectors, that is vector E and vector A, where E is the electric field vector, A is the area vector. Their dot product is given EA cos theta. So what happens to our first equation? It can also written as phi is equal to the electric flux. Phi is equal to EA cos theta. Clear? The first equation is becomes changes into this form. That is electric field vector phi is equal to EA cos theta. So from this equation we get another definition for our electric flux. What is the another definition for our electric flux? The electric flux can be said the dot product of the electric field vector and that of the area vector. What is electric flux? It is the dot product of electric field vector and that of the area vector. First we are discussing about electric flux. Electric flux is the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area. Then we are finding electric flux is representing by phi. It can be calculated using the equation vector E dot vector A, where E is the electric field vector, A is the area vector. Since it is a dot product, we can write phi is equal to EA cos theta. So it gives another definition for electric flux. That is electric flux is the dot product of electric field vector and that of the area vector. Clear? Okay. Now, suppose we are consider the electric flux of a small area. Suppose we are going to consider the electric flux of a small area. For example, I consider a sphere. The entire area of the figure is given by A, right? But I want to calculate the electric flux of a small area. For that, suppose I consider a small portion of this figure. Okay. I want to calculate the electric field of this small portion. So this small portion have an area of dA. Okay. Then what will be the equation for electric flux? The electric flux, instead of phi, it becomes a electric flux of a small area. So it is a small electric flux d phi. The small electric flux d phi is equal to E dot dA. The small electric flux d phi is equal to E dot dA. Instead of the entire area of this figure, I consider only a small portion. Okay, the area of the small portion is given by dA. So we can write the small electric flux d phi is equal to E dot dA. Now I want to calculate the total electric flux from this small area. I want to calculate the total electric flux of this given material from this small area. For that, what I want to do, I want to integrate. Integrating, I get integral d phi. Integral d phi is equal to closed surface integral. Why it is taken as closed surface integral? Because the surface or the body or the material that we are considering is closed in nature. Yes, it is closed in nature. So in order to integrating this closed surface, I using the closed surface integral of E dot dA. Okay, E dot dA. Both electric field and the small area vector, they are vector quantities. So put the vector notations there. So what we are considering here, we are considering or we are going to find out the electric flux of a small area. In order to find out this, we are considering a spherical surface and to take a small area of that spherical surface. It is represented by dA. Then the small electric flux is given by the equation d phi is equal to E dot dA. E dot dA. Now from this small area, I want to calculate the total electric flux. For that, I am integrating it. So integral d phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. Right? Now, in mathematics, we are already studied that. What is the integral of a derivative of that function? Integral and derivative of that function? It is the function itself. That is, integral of d phi is equal to phi. Okay. So while integrating, I get what becomes this equation? On integrating, I get integral d phi closed surface integral of E dot dA is equal to. So integral d phi is nothing, it is phi itself. Phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. It is the closed surface integral of E dot dA. Clear? So this is another equation for calculating our electric flux. So this is the third definition of electric flux. That is, the electric flux is the closed surface integral of electric field vector E and that of the area vector dA. Okay, this is our third definition. From where we are deriving this third definition, we are considering a sphere with an area A, but I want the electric flux of a small area. I consider a small area anywhere in this figure and it is represented by dA. So the small electric flux d phi, the small electric flux d phi is equal to closed surface integral. Why we are considered as a closed surface integral? Because the figure is closed. We are taken the surface as a closed surface. So the closed surface integral of E dot dA. Okay. Then in order to obtain the total electric flux from this surface, I am integrating both sides. Then we get integral d phi. Integral d phi. Sorry, before that, integral d phi. Not here. Integral d phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. On integrating, we get integral of a derivative quantity is that quantity itself. That is integral d phi is equal to phi and that is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. Yes, it is clear. From this, we can say the third definition for this electric flux. The electric flux is the closed surface integral of electric field vector over the area vector. Clear? And this equation we can also written as phi is equal to the same equation. This equation 3 can be also written as the phi is equal to summation of in vector field electric field vector E dot dA. We can also write like this. Why? Because the integration is known as the repeated addition. What is integration? In mathematics, you are already studied that integration is the repeated addition. So instead of this surface integral E dot dA, we can write summation of E dot dA. Clear? So here we are discussing about the electric flux phi. What do you mean by electric flux? Nandana, what do you mean by electric flux?
Total number of electric field lines in a given area.
Yes, the total number of electric field lines that is passing through a given area is known as electric flux. Achyut, how we are representing this electric flux?
Like definition.
Not definition, how we can represent this electric flux using which letter or term?
Phi mark.
Yes, phi. Okay, very good. Anjani, how we can calculate this electric flux?
Phi is equal to E vector into
Vector E into vector A. What is vector E and vector A?
is equal to electric field.
Electric field vector and area vector. Okay, very good. Vidur, what is the another definition for electric field vector?
It can be defined as dot product of electric field vector and that of the area vector.
That's very good. The electric flux is also defined as the dot product of electric field vector and that of the area vector. Aryan, what about the third definition for the electric flux phi? Aryan,
It is a dot product of electric field and area.
that is the second definition. It is the dot product of electric field vector and area vector. I think Nidhi is ready to say the answer. Nidhi, what about the third definition for the electric field vector? Are you there? Okay, then Lydia.
Ma'am, it is a closed surface integral of
Yes. It is the closed surface integral of electric field vector and that of the area vector. Okay, very good. So the electric flux is the closed surface integral of electric field vector and area vector. Okay, and we can write that equation also in the form phi is equal to summation of E dot dA, vector E dot vector dA, because the integration is known as the repeated addition. We can discuss in its applications, but it becomes much more clear to you. So since the integration is the repeated addition, we can write this equation also in the form phi is equal to summation of vector E dot vector dA. Clear? Is this clear for you? All of you, please switch on your videos. Do you have any doubt? You can ask, no problem. Can we move to the next? Yes?
Ma'am, can you explain that integration part again?
Integration. Okay, all right, no problem. So in this electric flux, we are saying, in order to define the third definition for electric flux, we are considering a sphere, a spherical conductor. It have an area A. But I want to calculate the electric flux of a small area. I don't need the electric flux of this entire area A. Instead of this, I want to calculate the electric flux of a small area. So for that, I consider a small portion, a small area of this given figure. The small area of the given figure is given by dA. Okay. So we know that the electric flux, the equation for electric flux is E dot A. This is what is the equation that we are studying. But now, instead of this entire area, we are considering a small area dA. So the equation of electric flux is varies as a small electric flux. In order to representing a small quantity, we are adding this d phi or dA like that. So for a small area, the electric flux is becomes d phi is equal to vector field E dot dA, because we are calculating the electric flux of a small area. Now, from this small area, from this figure, I want to calculate the entire electric flux. How it is possible? It is possible by integrating. So integrating both sides, we get integral d phi is equal to closed surface. So instead of writing a line integral, I write a closed surface because the surface that we are taken here is closed. It is not open. It is a closed surface. Okay. Because we are already studied electric flux is a total number of field lines that is passing through a given area. It is a given area. So it's a closed surface here. So we are taken the closed surface integral of E dot dA. E dot dA. Okay. Then integral of a derivative quantity is that quantity itself. The integral dx is x that we are already studied in the mathematics. Integral dx by dt equal to x. Okay. So like that, here we have integral d phi, integral of a derivative quantity. That is that quantity itself, phi is equal to closed surface integral of vector field E dot vector dA. Okay, this is our third definition for electric flux. That is the electric flux phi is equal to closed surface integral of electric field vector and that of the area vector. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So can we move to the next topic?
Yes, ma'am.
The next topic is very important. The next is Gauss's law. Gauss's law or Gauss's theorem. Gauss's. Gauss's law. Okay. Actually, this Gauss's law deals with the electric flux. Can you recall electric flux once again, Punya? What do you mean by electric flux?
The total number of electric field lines passing through a given.
Yes, and what is the equation for electric flux, the final equation that we are studying?
Phi is equal to closed surface integral E dot dA.
Yes, phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. That is the equation for the calculating the electric flux. So the Gauss's law is deals with this electric flux. And what is this Gauss's law is states that the net electric flux of a closed surface. What is the net electric flux diverging? I will write the law here. The net electric flux, diverging from a closed surface. The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface. The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. The net charge enclosed by the surface. Okay. So this is what is our Gauss's law states. What is our Gauss's law states? The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Okay. And from this theorem, it's very clear that the electric field lines are emerging out if and only if the charges are enclosed in a surface. If the surface is enclosed, then only the electric field lines are emerging out. That is what is our Gauss's law state. So the net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. which means the electric field lines, we know that the electric field lines are emerging from, or it is starting from the positive charge and it is terminating at the negative charge. So the electric field lines are originating and it is radially outwards if and only if when the surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. All of you, please switch on your videos. I want to see whether you are right or not. All of you, please switch on your videos. I want to see your beautiful faces. Why you are switch off it? Okay. So what is our Gauss's law state? The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Can I rub this law? Can I rub this? Say yes or no? All of you write this law?
ma'am.
Okay. So the Gauss's law is states that. What is our Gauss's law state, Evelyn?
The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface.
Yes, that is the net electric flux that is diverging from a surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. So the equation for the electric flux that we are already studying, phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA, right? And according to Gauss's law, he states that this is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the charge enclosed by the surface. 1 by epsilon 0 into charge, that is equal to Q by epsilon 0. This is what is our Gauss's law state. What is Gauss's law? Gauss's law states that the net electric flux diverging from a surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. That is phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA, that is equal to Q by epsilon 0. Okay. Alvin, please switch on your video. Achyut, Anna, all of you, please switch on your videos. Okay. So this is the equation which is representing the Gauss's law. And this Gauss's law it gives a clear description that the electric field lines are emerging out when, if and only if, the electric field or the charges are enclosed by the surface. This is what is our Gauss's law state. Clear? Now we can prove the Gauss's law. The proof of Gauss's law. Proof. Okay. So in order to prove this Gauss's law, I consider a spherical conductor. I consider a spherical conductor. Let R be the radius of the sphere. R be the radius of the sphere. And I place a charge at the center of the sphere. A charge Q is placed at the center of the sphere. So when I place a charge at the center of the sphere, it is a closed surface. We know that the electric field lines are radially outwards. The electric field lines are radially outwards. Okay. In order to prove the Gauss's law, we are considering a spherical conductor where R is the radius of the sphere. And I place a charge Q at the center of the sphere. When I place the charge Q at the center of the sphere, the electric field lines are started to radially outwards. It is originated from positive and it is terminating at the negative side. Okay. Now we can consider a small area at anywhere on the spherical conductor. Suppose I consider a small area on this portion of this spherical conductor. I consider a small area and that small area is given by dA. I consider a small area on the portion of the spherical conductor, and it is given by dA. And what is the direction of this area? The direction of the area vector is always normal to the surface. So the direction of the dA is normal to the surface of the spherical conductor. Okay. Now, what is the direction of the electric field? The direction of the electric field is also in this direction, right? What is the direction of the electric field here? The direction of the electric field is also same the direction as that of the direction of the area vector, right? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Here we are considering a charge. When we are placed the charge at the center of the sphere, the electric field lines are radially outwards. Then we are consider a small area on the spherical conductor. When we are considering the small area, what is the direction of the small area? The area vector, the direction of the area vector is always normal to the surface. Then we are considering the direction of the electric field. And we observe that it is also the direction same as that of the direction of the area vector. Then what is the angle between this area vector and that of the electric field vector? What is the angle made between this area vector and electric field vector? The angle made by this electric field vector and that of the area vector, theta is equal to 0. Why? Because both of them are in the same direction. Since the area vector and that of the electric field vector are in the same direction, there is no angle made between them because they are aligned parallel or they are along the same direction. So there is no angle between them. So the angle between them, the theta is equal to 0 degree. Clear? Now we can write the equation for electric flux. What is the equation for electric flux? Phi is equal to, Steffi, what is the equation for electric flux? All of you please switch on your video. What is the equation for calculating the electric flux? Phi is equal to?
Phi is equal to closed surface integral.
Okay.
E vector dot.
Yes. Vector
D.
E dot
Vector D vector A.
Vector A. That is we are already studied that the phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. What is the dot product of two vectors? Vector E dot vector dA is equal to? What is vector E dot vector A? Yes. Say it louder, it's right.
EA cos theta.
Yes, very good. It is EDA cos theta. EDA cos theta. Okay. And what is theta here? What is theta? Theta is the angle made by the area vector and electric field vector.
0.
And what is that theta here?
0.
Yes, it is 0. So our equation becomes phi is equal to closed surface integral of EDA cos 0. EDA cos 0. What is cos 0?
1.
Yes, cos 0 is equal to 1. So we can write, since cos 0 is equal to 1, we can write phi is equal to closed integral of EDA cos 0 equal to 1. Cos 0 is 1. So EDA into 1 equal to 1. So phi is equal to closed surface integral of EDA. Right? Now, phi is equal to, the electric field is a constant, taking it outside, into integral of dA. What is the integral of a derivative? Integral of a derivative is that quantity itself. So what happens to our equation? Phi is equal to E into A. Phi is equal to E into A. Clear? Then, what is electric field intensity? What is the equation for electric field intensity E? What is the equation for electric field intensity E? We are already studied it. Just recall. All of you please switch on your videos. Alvin, what is the equation for electric field? E is equal to? Yes. Sharon, what is electric field E? 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q divided by R square. Did you remember this equation? So the electric field E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q divided by R square. And what is A? A is the area of the sphere. What is the area of the sphere? S?
Ma'am, as it is a vector, don't we have to add into R cap?
Yes, R cap is there. R cap is. Okay. What about the area vector A? What about A? What is the area of the sphere? What is the equation for calculating the area of the sphere? A is equal to 4 pi R square. Did you study in mathematics?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then what about the equation for phi becomes phi is equal to here unit vector R is here. So when we are substituting phi is equal to vector E dot vector A, we have 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q divided by R square into 4 pi R square. Cancel the like terms, 4 pi here, 4 pi. R square, R square. What is left? Phi is equal to Q divided by epsilon 0. This is what is our Gauss law. Okay. Q is equal to, sorry, electric flux phi is equal to Q divided by epsilon 0. I will discuss it once again. In order to prove this Gauss's law, we are considering a sphere of radius small r. At the center of the sphere, I am placing a charge Q. When I place the charge on the center, what happens? The electric field lines are radially outwards. Now, I want to consider the small area of the sphere. For this, I consider a small portion here. And that small area is given by dA. What is the direction of the area vector? The direction of the area vector is always normal to the surface. That is, it is along this direction. Then I observe what is the direction of the electric field. So the direction of the electric field is also in this direction. That is, both of them have the same direction. The area vector and electric field vector, both of them have, this is the electric field. This electric field is also pointing towards the right side and the area vector is also pointing towards the right side. Both of them have the same directions. Since both of them having the same direction, we can take the angle between them, theta is equal to 0 degree. The angle between them is 0 degree. Okay. Then we are moved to the equation for calculating the electric flux of this surface. The electric flux is given by phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. E dot dA. And we already studied that the dot product of two vector quantity, vector A dot vector B is equal to AB cos theta. Similarly, we have another two vectors, vector E dot vector dA. It is given by EDA cos theta. So phi is equal to closed surface integral of EDA cos theta. What is the value of theta? Theta is 0. Therefore, phi is equal to closed surface integral of EDA cos 0. EDA cos 0. What is the value of cos 0? Cos 0 is 1. The value of the cos 0 is 1. Therefore, phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot dA. Not E dot dA, EDA. Because EDA cos 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, phi is equal to closed surface integral of EDA. Okay. Now we are just to substitute the values of electric field and that of the area vector. it becomes the electric flux phi is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q divided by r square into, what is the equation for calculating the area of the sphere? It is equal to 4 pi r square. We can cut this 4 pi and here this 4 pi, this r square and this r square. Then finally we get q by epsilon 0. So from this we prove the Gauss law. That is phi is equal to closed surface integral of E dot d or EDA is equal to q by epsilon 0. Hence it is proved. Clear? All of you please switch on your videos. Please switch on your videos. It is still confusing. That's why you are silent. Otherwise, you are very responding people. Why are you
Ma'am.
very silent?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, how did we change 5 equal to E into closed integral of dA to 5 equal to E into A?
Yes, yes. This E is a constant, right? The electric field. We cannot integrate it. So we take it is outside. So it becomes E into closed integral of dA. We are already stated what is the integral of d phi. What is the value of integral of d phi? It is phi.
Phi.
Similarly, what is the integral of dA? The integral of a derivative quantity is that quantity itself. So we write the integral of d phi as phi. Similarly, what is the closed integral of dA? It is nothing. It is the integral itself. So it becomes equal to A. Okay. So our equation maybe becomes phi is equal to EDA. Not dA, EA. Because that integral of the derivatives becomes that quantity itself, EA. Then we substitute the values of our electric field. What is the equation for calculating the electric field intensity? According to Coulomb's law, E is equal to, what is E equal to? Yes, Sharon?
1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q
Yes.
by r square.
1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. And here we are considering a sphere. What is how we can calculate the area of the sphere? Gayatri?
4 pi r square.
Yes, very good. It is 4 pi r square into 4 pi r square. We can cancel the like terms. Here 4 pi, here also 4 pi, r square and r square. Then what is left? Phi is equal to q divided by epsilon 0. This is what is the Gauss's law state. That is the net electric flux over a closed surface or diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Here Q is the net charge and epsilon 0 is the permittivity of the free space and phi is the electric flux. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today we are discussing about the electric flux and Gauss's law. What do you mean by electric flux? Malaviga, what is electric flux? Lydia, what is electric flux?
It is the total number of electric field lines passing through a given area.
Passing through a given area. Gauri, equation for calculating the electric flux?
Phi is equal to vector E dot vector A.
Vector E dot vector A. Very good. And then Adul,
Yes, ma'am.
can you state the Gauss's law? What is the Gauss's law state?
The net electric flux diverging from a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface.
Okay. 1 by epsilon 0 times the net charge enclosed by the surface. Okay. And we are already studied about the proof of Gauss's law. So I hope that these topics are clear for you, right? Okay, you just read these points before our next class. On next class, we can discuss about the application of Gauss's law. So before the next class, you must study the Gauss's law. Okay, can we wind up this session? Okay, thank you, students. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.